Okay, at this point we have moved inside because it is so darn cold out there that I can't stand another one in we'll call it Arctic conditions because I love to be melodramatic on this show. And we're joined by Thomas Whitfield, who is part of the Georgian Group. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about the Georgian Group. I mean, it sounds like a bit of a dumb question. Like, obviously you're focused on the Georgian period, but what do you guys actually do?
So absolutely. So we are one of the National Amenity Societies. We're a charitable organisation, and we are ostensibly a members' organisation. We were founded in 1937 as a sort of a breakaway group from the Society for the Protection of Ancient Buildings, with a core interest in preserving and promoting Georgian heritage, mostly sort of the built heritage of the Georgian period, which was and continues to be under threat from development and sort of neglect and lack of care. So as I say, we are a charity with members remit, and we offer various benefits to members. We publish a yearly journal, which contains more scholarly academic articles. We also publish twice yearly a magazine, which contains sort of more accessible articles for interest, lighter reading, and updates on our statutory casework. Our statutory casework is that bit where we are very much sort of focused on stopping people trashing Georgian buildings, and particularly demolishing Georgian buildings. That's enshrined in law that local authorities, when a planning application affects a Georgian building through demolition or severe, extensive works, they are required to notify us to comment on that. But as I say, it's here.
So with that whole kind of process of trying to protect buildings, I imagine it ends up being a bit of an argument with some people. Somebody buys a building and they go, well, I want to stick a massive extension on. How do you deal with that as a problem? Because from a historical perspective, that's almost vandalism. From their perspective, it's their property, and why the hell can't I do what I want to with something that I've spent my money on? So how do you end up negotiating that?
Negotiation is the key word. And it really is striking a balance. Nobody wants to live in a museum. These buildings have to be workable for people to live in and enjoy living in. Because if they're not, then people won't live in them and they fall into dereliction and fall down. So it really is about striking a balance between what you can do sensitively. And a key part of our role, a key part of my job, is to negotiate and liaise with applicants, with developers, with agents, to try and help develop the most beneficial way forward for the building for all parties involved. And as you say, that does sometimes result in conflict, and sometimes we do have to take a bit of a hard line and say no. We have lines that you can't, just outright demolish a building because it doesn't quite fit with you. But a building, absolutely, we recognise has to be usable, has to be functional, and have a sustainable future. It's all about sort of conserving it for the future. So we have to make sure that people will still have it and still use it and enjoy it in the future. Absolutely.
And can you give us any sort of sneak peeks into either projects that are sort of ongoing as part of your efforts, or perhaps some recently concluded projects that you've been working on?
So I think the big headline one for us recently has been the Custom House in London, which is the big Grade 1 listed Custom House down by the Thames. A lot of people don't actually know about it, but it is a highly significant building from the sort of early 19th century. It was sort of the centre of commerce in London, which is the centre of commerce for the British Empire at the time. And over the last few years, we have received and been consulted on and worked with developers who were looking to redevelop the site. It was been used by HMRC until quite recently. HMRC left and it was needing a new use. So proposals were put forward, for example, for a hotel scheme, which was not particularly sensitive, and we objected strongly to it, took it to court, took it to planning inquiry, and won. On the back of that, a new scheme has been brought forward, which we are now in close negotiations with and liaising with the applicants to try and ensure that it's a better, more sustainable, more suitable scheme, which doesn't do harm to the historic building.
Fantastic. And you also do events.
We do.
Tell us a little bit about sort of your programme events for this year and what people can look forward to and where they can go to attend those events.
Yeah, definitely. So we do events all over the UK, or sort of England and Wales in particular. and also online. So our offices we are based in London, in Fitzroy Square in London. We have a regular programme of online lectures, which are available for all members to attend, in person and online, I should say. And these range from various things such as, we've had talks on John Burgoyne's theatre interests, and, we've got a talk coming up on a conservation management plan for St Helena, for example. We also do site visits with our members, and they are all over the country houses. We do town walks, basically anything that gets members and people out and engaging directly with Georgian heritage, with Georgian buildings, Georgian landscapes, Georgian whatever. We're very positive about doing. And to find out about these events, certainly go to our website. We are very active on social media, on Instagram in particular. So yeah.
And in terms of that all-important question, people sort of coming to events is great, but fundamentally all charities, and I feel this very strongly with the Wargraves charity, we need people to come forward and either donate or sign up as members. So how can people go about doing that?
So membership can be, I think it's £50 for a year. For a full member. We also have a Young Georgians offering for anybody under the age of 35, which is £30 per year. All Young Georgians are entitled to the same as full members, but they also have their own programme of events and are very active in that. This is our sort of one of our key modes of funding is really from the members. So we are always very welcome, very, very keen to welcome new members to join.
Fantastic. And just remind people what the website is that they can...
www.georgiangroup.org.uk.
Fantastic. Tom, thank you so much. You now need to take some of my money.
Very happy to do so.
We won't record that for fairly obvious reasons, that it would make a diabolical end to the podcast. But thank you so much. Folks, do go and support a fantastic cause. And Tom, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Folks, do me a favour. Go and review the show. Do it right now. 5 stars, please, and a comment, crucially. It takes you seconds, but it sends the algorithm wild and catapults us up the rankings. It's the most powerful thing you can do to support the hours of content that we provide for free. Love the show? Never want to miss the latest news? Sign up to our newsletter. The link is in the description, and get regular Napoleonic bulletins direct to your inbox. Looking for a present for the Napoleonicist in your life? We have a shop packed with Napoleonic Wars Pod merch. Check out the link in the description. And did you know you can now gift people subscriptions to the Patreon perks we offer? So, if you want to treat someone to our online course, exclusive Meet the Author sessions, green room access to recordings, and exclusive episodes, head to patreon.com/NapWarsPod to find out more. Much love to all our Patreon supporters who are enjoying a rejuvenated and revitalized offering of perks on Patreon. Head to patreon.com/the Napoleonic Wars Pod to find out how you can join a buzzing community of like-minded Napoleonic nerds who are enjoying things like courses, socials, book clubs, green room access to recordings, early releases, exclusive episodes, and much, much more. Their support is empowering us to triple our output and keep you entertained with Napoleonic nerdery on a near daily basis. Prices start from just £2 a month, so if you can spare the cost of a cup of coffee each month to support us, it would mean a huge amount and might even fund some documentary work. Shoutouts to our patrons who, at the time of recording in mid-January 2024, were in the mentioned in dispatches tier: Brendan Teeling, Beatrice de Graaf, Lynn Dawson, Jim Deary, Josh Keeney, Colin Fieldhouse, Stephen Colson, Jim Getz, Stephen Gillen, Hugh Brennan, Alistair Campbell-Grieve, Andy Meakin, Mark Anscombe, Rob Coughlin, Bruins Girl, Noah Fink, Miles Reedy, Nick Overland, Graham Goodwin, Chris Pramus, Anthony Gumbau, Anonymous American, James Fluick, Natasha Hobday, Rod Schwager, Chris Kimball, Gary Dennis, Ted Andrews, Richard Anderson, Arthur Forgy, Sam Moore, Wyatt Pollock, Carol Dixon-Smith, Roland Shark, Giovanni, Jean-Baptiste Van Merlen, Darla Vincent, Peter Findley, Jeff Maple, Ian Harding, Indiana Fats, Joe Ayres, Robin Brasher, Daniel Friedman, and Jonathan Willets. The Admirals: John Haynes, Mike Guest, Rachel Stark, Mark Duckers, David Priest, David Maxwell, Graham Callister, Sean Sullivan, Stephen Ashworth, Kate Walcombe, Clemens Beman, Charles McKay, Reto the Sci-Fi Fan, Tim Day, Jason Moran, and Tim Pritchard. The Chiefs of Staff, Adam Coslin. The Marshals, Ryan Diamond and JC Kaiser. The Legion de Scholars, Dan Hazelwood and Bob Burnham. And in the Crown Yourself tier, Emperor of the First French Empire Todd Campbell and the Duke of Wellington, Laird Campbell. We'll be back very soon, but until then, this has been the Napoleonic Wars Pod. On behalf of myself, Liam, Luke, Josh and Zoe, take care of yourselves, folks. Stay well. And as always, thank you for listening.